So, today we're going to do some sourdough starter. I plan to have a couple loaves of bread ready for us this Friday for our fast. We are Catholic and we celebrate Lent to the best of our ability. We have decided that we're going to fast on bread and water for most of the day and then have one meal at the end of the night. So, what I'm going to do here is a recipe loosely based on Alex French Guy Cooking. He has the simplest proportions of French like sourdough I've ever seen. This is not that. This is just how he's guided me. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to measure our water. So we're going to get and then we're going to turn to grams. We're going to put this on here. This is going to be for the water. Then we're going to zero it out. So I'm going to put in about, let's see, around 100 grams of water. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to the microwave. I'm going to warm this up just slightly. I'm going to hit the 30-second button, but it's not going to be for 30 seconds. Here we go. Okay. So now we're going to zero this out. Put this on. This is what I'm going to grow the starter in. Okay. So we got to zero this back out. So now I'm going to put about 100 grams of sourdough starter. And zero that out. And take about 100 grams of this excellent Kirkland all-purpose flour. There you go. There you go. And then I'm going to pour this in here. I'm going to mix it up. I brought the water up to just like, body temperature. So then we're going to
like literally 98?
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah, I mean it's not hot.
Right,
but it's not cold.
Room temperature.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we're going to let this bloom. And what I like to do is the warmest spot in my kitchen is the microwave with the light on. But what I'm going to do is also heat up some of this water. This can just be from the tap because it's just going to be like an insulator. So I'm going to put this in here. Okay, that's been about 3 minutes. And what I've done is, you can see I've heated up this water. It's going to be sort of like an insulator, an encourager for my sourdough starter to bloom. And over here, I take a lid and I just put a sort of catty corner so I can get some air. And I put it in here. It's going to take at least 2 or 3 hours, I would say, depending on how active my current mother is. But I'm looking forward to get somewhere up around here.
How much it's going to rise?
Yeah, okay. I'm looking for it to get almost to
like double.
Almost to the.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and okay. You're not doing any. That water is just there
to keep the oven warm, so it will bloom.
Gotcha.
Okay, and so we're gonna cut here, and we'll come back for what's called the float test. So once this has risen, I'll try to make a little piece of that starter float in some water. Okay, and if it floats, then it's ready to make bread. So we're going to try the float test. It's been about 3 hours, and as you can see, we're nearly to the top. So I'm going to test to see if this sourdough starter is ready to make bread. I'm pretty sure it will be, but the other thing is, like, the glory of like having a bowl of water in with it is that you can use this water for the float test. You don't have to get another thing out.
That is smart. Does it matter like how big the little glob is?
Nope, just has to float. And it floats.
Woo!
Okay, so this means it's ready to do bread. So here goes 200 grams. So I've zeroed it out on this bowl. So here's 200 grams.
Okay.
Okay, that should be good enough.
Yeah.
It's 207, but that's
Yeah.
close enough for government work. Now this is going to be 600 grams of flour. We're at 343. There we go. And then zero this out. And this is 400 grams of filtered water. Okay, that's a little more, but it's okay. Okay, I'm going to zero this out, and then I'm going to go ahead and mix this into a really shaggy dough. And since I got a little too much water in there, I might add some more flour. It depends. But it's okay if it's wet. It's better if it's wet.
How long does it take to kind of knead it from here? Like,
Okay, so we're just gonna knead this into a shaggy dough till it kind of comes together.
Okay.
And then we're gonna stick it back in the microwave with some warm water and let it rest for an hour.
So it doesn't need to be. This is not when we're making it all
Nope.
shiny and we're
Nope.
folding it.
Nope.
Just bringing
Just-
it together.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
So it should look kind of like this. You know, you see
Right.
it's got some water still. I should probably get my hands in it, but I don't want to right now.
That's fine.
But see how it's kind of coming together and it's kind of shaggy? This
Yeah.
is kind of what you want, because then we're going to let this rest for another hour. Then we're going to add salt to it, and then we're going to knead it a little bit. Okay, so what I like to do with this, I'm not sure this is proper, but it's always worked for me. I'm going to take this and I'm going to add it to the rest of my mother that's in the refrigerator.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so here we are. The next step in Alex French Guy Cooking's guide is that you add salt and a splash of water, then you knead it. So here I'm doing a teaspoon of salt. If you like more salt, I think you can add it, but like this is all I've ever added, so for this quantity of flour and yeast. So you sprinkle it over here like this, all over it. And then you just put a little splash of water there. And then you mix it around like this, right? And then now you knead it for the first time. It feels like the yeast is engaging. It really does. Like the sourdough starter is engaging. It feels fluffy. As you can see, the consistency of the dough is really, really good, really bouncy. So you just mix this up. It's going to get a little tight, but you don't need it for long. You just want to make sure that the salt is kind of good enough in it, right? All right, so I think that's good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come over to the microwave. And as you can see, there's that dish of water, right, that started the whole thing. I'm going to reheat this for about 3 minutes, and I'll be right back. What's going to happen next is we're going to let this rise some more for about 2 hours. But while you do that, right, I'm going to cover this. I'm going to make sure it's got some oil on it just in case it comes up pretty high. There. We're going to bring it over here to the microwave. And the dishwater is nice and warm. And I guess we'll see you about 6 o'clock and see how it goes. Okay. Okay, so here's our sourdough bread. It's not doubled, but it's almost there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knead it. I'm going to turn it on itself several times. And I'm going to cover it with this. And I'm going to put it in the refrigerator overnight. See, look at that. It's all fluffy.
Ooh, beautiful, cool.
Yeah.
Very elasticy.
Yep.
Now, is that something I'm assuming that you're looking for?
Absolutely, because that means the yeast is activated.
Okay.
And it's not overproofed.
And are you gonna put any like flour on?
No,
on here?
not until I form it into loaves, and this is where Alex and I depart. Okay. Because like Alex has a whole new situation after this happens.
Okay.
But I'm gonna put it into the refrigerator now.
So you're just kind of fluffing it again.
I'm folding it in on itself.
Okay.
Making sure I'm stretching the gluten.
Yeah.
You know,
but it's still kind
development.
Of rough.
It's really rough.
Still, okay.
And pretty moist, which is cool.
Right. Okay.
We can add flour later.
Right.
But I'm just saying, this is very, very well fermented.
Okay.
It's got a fluffiness and it's warm. Mm-hmm. So now what I want to do is put this in the refrigerator to slowly ferment overnight.
Okay.
This is where Alex and I depart.
Okay.
Because like.
Let me ask you this genuine question. Why the refrigerator and why not like just have it like in room temperature overnight?
Because it'll overproof.
It'll overproof if it's not. Okay.
And
good.
And like we don't want that to happen.
Right.
And like I want to control the fermentation process because I don't want to stay up till 4 a.m. making bread.
Right. For sure.
Not even 10 o'clock tonight making bread.
Right. Okay.
I want to make bread on my own terms.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Most people do.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is doing good. This is going to be great. So as everyone can see, it's springy, spongy, full of life, and this is exactly what I want. Yeah. You know, for a fermented dough, because like I know I'm gonna get 2 loaves of bread out of this, and it's gonna be amazing. Good morning. Welcome back to, what do we call ourselves? Complaining, cooking, and other domestic delights, or something like that.
Cooking comes first, complaining second, and then other domestic delights.
Okay, that's our channel. Welcome back. And we're getting a little bit of a late start. Last night, not only did I have a bad reaction to all the pollen in the air, it was quite a shock seeing myself on camera for in a couple of years probably. So it took a while for me to recover. Anyway, we're going to continue on with this sourdough bread making. And as you can see here, we've got the bread. It's been in the refrigerator proofing overnight. And it's just got a bubble or two, so it's not overproofed at all. It's kind of ready to go. Okay. Other things you will need will be a scraper for
wait.
a scraper, rubber scraper to get the dough out. We'll need a bench scraper to move the dough around on the table. Some bench flour. I've got the trusty scale out here so I can maybe get the loaves sort of even in weight. Got some Pam here. I got 2 loaf pans and 2 pieces of parchment paper. So what we're going to do is something I rarely see a lot of female cooking YouTubers do, and that is we're going to use this little thing here, and we're going to put our hair back.
Oh, wow.
So we don't get hair in our food. You know what I mean? It's kind of great. You know, that's always my first comment. Why is she cooking with her hair down? Anyway, I guess you look better. In any case, so here we're gonna start, I think, with preparing the pans. That's always a good thing. Oh, and another thing I wanted to mention before I get going, in terms of ovens, right here is my toaster oven. I just put it on the warm setting for about a minute or 2, and I unplugged it. So now it's kind of warm because we're going to need to proof those loaves a little bit. But you don't want to, actively keep the thing warm because it might start baking it. So, and then the other thing is in our main oven here, I don't know if you can see, I got a little cast iron skillet there. When I start baking this bread, I'm going to actually put some water in that so it steams while the bread bakes.
Ooh, that's important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I think I'm ready. All right, so let's see how we do. First of all, it doesn't take a lot. This is mainly just to stick the parchment paper onto the loaf pan so it doesn't go anywhere. You probably, eventually might want to cut these off because they'll get kind of brown. But
some of that is so that it doesn't hit the side, but also some of it is just to lift it out. Or
yeah, to lift it out. I like using.
Is it mostly for lifting out?
Yeah, I like to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, Alex, French Guy Cooking, he bakes his loaves in a Dutch oven, which we can do. But like I said, this is not that. Right. We're going to do this so we can have 2 loaves to use. And not one great big one, Okay, so now what I'm going to do is get my scale out. Come on.
Are you going to measure out 2 loaves?
Yeah.
And then, in your mind, what are the pans going to be, like, size-wise?
I'm not sure yet. I'm going to try to do is, get this thing to come back to me. I think it's finally up. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out completely and then weigh the whole thing and then see how much it weighs. Bench flour. You can totally use your hands. I will eventually. It's just that I like doing this to get it out as much of the dough as possible. You can see she's nice and fluffy, nice and thick. I should have worn an apron. There we go. Not too bad. Okay. We're just gonna flip this over on itself a little bit. Do a little pre-kneading here. get it in a shape that we can weigh it. It's not sticky at all. I was worried because that dough we made had a little bit, it's a little bit hydrated, but it looks like it's gonna be okay.
So yesterday when I was looking at it, it did look like tacky, like it had a lot of texture to it. Obviously right now, it doesn't seem to have that.
Okay, now we're gonna weigh it. So 1 pound, 18 ounces. What's that divided by 2?
Half a pound and 9 ounces. And it equals half of whatever that is.
Let's see. Let me just try to get them reasonably the same. Yeah. That was 615. 574. So this one's a little bit bigger.
But in terms of what I was trying to ask before, is in terms of like what the dough looks like, it looks smoother today. That's normal.
Yeah, because it will, when it proofs, it sort of smooths itself out. Okay. So this is as good as it's gonna get. All right. So now, in terms of shaping, let me move this out of the way. I am not an expert. I do it my way. My mom will be thrilled to hear that I admitted that. So, not a lot of flour, honestly, not a lot. So what I'd like to do, right, is like to do this, and do this, do this.
So you're stretching, pulling back,
and in on itself, yeah. And then I'm gonna I might not need the bench scraper for this, so I just try to like get it in a football shape, a loaf shape. And for some people, I'm positive this isn't enough shaping or enough kneading, but it's always worked for me. I've done this particular method at least 4 times. As you do. So what we're going to do is allow this to, proof again, and it's going to come, kind of to the edges there. Okay. So one more time. Just a little bit of flour. Oops, shoot, that was a lot. Okay. Too much flour, but it'll be okay. She'll be right, as they say.
Too much flour won't really hurt the baking too much, will it?
I don't think so, but it does dry out the dough somewhat. And if the moisture level on the dough isn't that great to begin with, more flour will make it really hard.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. I think I'm happy with this. So we're gonna lay that in there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a couple of pieces of paper towel and wet them. I like to clean the yeast dough off my hands as soon as possible, so your hands don't have a reaction. Okay. Just 2 pieces of regular little paper towel. And get it fairly wet. Because I said before, the toaster oven here is warm. And so I'm just trying to hurry it along a little bit so we're not baking bread till 2 in the morning. Okay, so there we go.
What does this towel essentially do?
It keeps the dough moist so it can proof.
Okay. So it's gonna
Yeah.
go through another proof.
Yeah, it's got to go through another proof. So I'm going to go in here. Now this oven's not on. It's just been warmed up a little bit.
Yeah, it's like a little.
Yeah, just a little warm. Yeah. There. We're going to let this proof for about an hour.
For about an hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I'm going to clean this mess up and we'll be back in an hour to when we bake it. Okay. So the bread is proofed quite a bit. So what we're going to do is we are going to turn our big oven up to 380 degrees. So bake. 385. So we're going to get really hot. You can see we have that little pan in there still.
Yep.
When it comes up to heat, I'm going to put some water in there.
So now you score it.
Yeah.
And scoring is just kind of like your touch. Is it? How necessary is scoring?
It helps it raise when it's baking.
Okay.
There we go. Some of this water into the little pan. I know we're losing heat, but there we go. And then we're going to take the bread in here. Go. I'm going to set a timer for 25 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the bread and see how it's doing. Looks pretty good.
Gorgeous.
Yep, so now what we're going to do is turn this down, this heat, to 350 or so. And then we're going to basically cook it till it's done, but I'm going to put 20 minutes on the timer. So all in all, it'll bake for 45 minutes all in all. Had it set for 20 minutes, I actually put 5 more on. So these have baked for a full hour. Oh, 50 minutes. 25 plus 25 is 50 minutes. So here we go. I'm a singer. I can't add. I can't count. I can't add. So there we go. There's one.
Ooh, hoo, hoo. That looks good.
Put over there.
Holy moly.
There's 2.
Ooh, man, that looks perfect.
Okay, so people say that you need to knock on the bottom of your bread, and if it sounds like a book that's closed,
Mm-hmm.
you know, sounds a little hollowish. I've never known,
You don't flick
but
it.
I kind of have the idea.
How long do you need till you flick it? Like
Watch,
right now?
watch.
Flick it?
Okay, what I'm going to do is do this.
Yeah.
It looks good, yeah.
Are you kidding me? That looks great. Oh.
It's, you know, nice and moist, crispy on the outside.
Dude.
There we go.
Dude, that, oh my god.
You know, it's not over browned. There she blows.
Oh my god. That, I can't imagine bread looking better than that. I'm not even kidding, dude.
So These loaves are soft and moist on the inside and crispy on the outside. So they're not like your typical rustic sourdough that you bake in a Dutch oven, which I do. But this is much more efficient for us because I can cool this off and we can eat one today, and then I can save this one for Friday for our fast. We like to commemorate Lent, and we like to follow Lent, Lenten sacrifices, especially on Friday. So we dine on bread and water for breakfast and lunch, and then we have well, this Friday, this Friday is going to be our fried fish fiasco. Fish and chips fiasco. The reason why I call it a fiasco is it's got a lot of steps. We've made it a couple times, but it's been a while. It's been a while since we made it, and we want to see if we can pull this off, on camera. So it's going to be fish and chips and mushy peas and tartar sauce on Friday.
Which I love. This is incredible. I gotta say, this is incredible. Are you happy with this?
Mm-hmm. Very happy.
Okay.
Yep.
Like, it shouldn't be darker or lighter. I mean, it has such a perfect golden color right now.
Mm-hmm.
No, do some people prefer it darker? Is there like?
Well, you've seen the traditional Dutch oven. I've made those. The typical Dutch oven boule.
One.
Yeah, it's all crispy and crackling on the outside and dark.
Yeah.
And I did this recipe or this method in response to you saying that it's hard to eat that way, on a daily basis.
Yeah.
This way we can make sandwiches out of this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Gorgeous.
I've really enjoyed sharing it with you. Just give us some feedback, tips and tricks, what you might be interested in, telling me about what you've observed about this bread.